Hi, long time no time. Is Emelda here? And it's been such a busy past few weeks, but this is the kind of challenges I prayed for. I'm trying to get on the GP register, and so have a lot of applications to do, and also having to sort out my CV to start looking for a job. Yeah, it's so real now, and I have been meaning to do this video, but I've just not had the time to do it. So I said that, you know what, I'm going to do it today. Anyway, so it was just to answer a question someone asked me. And it's such an important question because I also felt that way when I was in year one. And I mean, coming into GP, I just thought the usual. I mean, like we take history, we're doctors, we diagnose patients, and do the whole thing. But then it was so shocking to learn that there was a different way to take proper history as a GP and as a hospital doctor. It's just different. So initially, what we know from medical school is you take your presenting complaint, the history of presenting complaint, and then you do your review of systems, and then you go to your examination. What people discovered was that it was not patient focused. So it's just like you're interrogating the patient and you really don't care about what happens to them, how are they feeling, what's the impact of this problem on this patient. And that's what primary care is all about. Primary care is about the holistic assessment of your patient because you're their doctor and you're the ones they're going to know for the rest of their lives if time permits basically. So and I know I'd really struggle with that in my early years in training. Um, it became second nature now. So it's something I just sort of rattle through, but I still do know that it's a privilege to know it because other people may not. And it's a structure that everybody uses, but I have adapted things to my own need because I've sort of understood where this whole thing comes from. So we have models of consultation. We have the neighbors model that's by Dr. Ruja Neighbor. It's quite popular and a very good GP. We also have the Calgary Cambridge model and we have the Pendleton model. And of course, the Pendleton model is what I know, is what a lot of people know, and it's what we have used for a long time. At least I and most of my friends that I know. And this structure is something I'm going to be sharing with you. And of course, feel free to ask me any question, and hopefully, I would be able to answer it as much as I know. And before I go into the whole structure, I need to let you know when you're taking a history from a patient, you need to understand that there is a patient's agenda and there's a doctor agenda. The patient agenda comes first. So that should reflect in the way you are taking a history. Because what happens is that we put our own agenda first. We're trying to get all the information we need to manage the patients to get them off the consulting room. But then we forget that this is a whole person who understands their body, who probably has a better understanding of what's going on, and then you need their help to figure out how to help them. And so if you remember that, you know that every question you're asking a patient is to find out why they have left their home to sit in your chair. I don't know if it makes any sense, but that's the way it works for me. And I always just wonder, why did you come here? Why are you here? I mean, a patient can come with an earache. Anybody can treat an earache, but why are they here? What is going on in their mind? So I'm gonna let you know in few minutes how I take a history from a patient and what works for me. So the usual structure I will tell you, and then I would also run you through what I do. Usually they say you do an open question, how can I help? As simple as that. And the patient tells you what they have come for. And if it's something that piques your interest, you can say, tell me a bit more about this, or tell me more about this pain, or whatever it is that serves as a next open question. That is what I do. How can I help? Tell me more. So that sort of helps the patient to keep talking. And now the next thing I do is I ask the patient, what do you think? Idea. So you go to eyes. That's what I do next. I go to my eyes. What's going on? What do you think? Have you got any idea? Have you had any thoughts as to what might be happening to you? Do you know why you're having this knee pain? How did you come about it? Things like that. And they start talking. Next thing I go to, it depends on what the patient says. And like I say, this is a structure, does not mean it's fixed. So you have to work with the patient. You have to be fluid. So that if the patient has mentioned from the beginning what they are worried about, you're not going to have to wait again to when you get to the concern part of eyes and start asking them again. That means you're not listening properly. Okay? So you ask them, what worries you most? Is there anything in particular that has, made you worried about this pain? Something like that. As simple as that. And then you go to your expectation. And sometimes, don't get me wrong, the patient can just tell you straight up, I have this pain in my knee. I'm thinking it might be because I've sprained my knee because I ran yesterday. I'm worried it could be something more like I've torn my ligament. And I would just want to have a scan. I want to have a scan. I want to have an x-ray. So they have literally solved the problem for you. And then instead of asking them again, or you just wait, oh yeah, because you're in your head and you're not listening to what the patient is saying, and you ask them again, what do you want from us, or how best can we help you? But they've told you they want an ultrasound. So the best way you could say, I know you said you wanted to have an ultrasound, or I heard you mention an ultrasound for your knee. Was there anything else you were hoping for? Was there anything else you wanted me to help you with? So this is another way you can ask it if you're not sure that you've gotten all from the patient. Okay, so after eyes, the next thing I go to is psychosocial impact. And for me, it's a biopsychosocial model because you're looking at the patient's biology, you're looking at the psych, and you're looking at the social. So as much as you're getting the information of why have they come to you, you want to know how is it affecting them. So that is where psychosocial comes. And I'm looking at their work, if they work, their home, how they been at home. Have they get any support at home? How have they been managing? Do they live with anyone? Do they live on their own? Because if it's a single mother who has got a pain in her knee and she has 2 kids and she has to do a lot of runs, we have kids go to school, do 1 or 2 things, and it's really a crippling pain. She can't do any of that. So you need to know, how has this affected you? And then of course, you have to probably think about lifestyle, like do they smoke, do they take any alcohol? Are they on any drugs? Just something that is relevant to the history. Just make sure it's relevant. Don't just ask everybody the same question unless you know where it's leading to. If you need that information, or you think that is something there, or you want to do some sort of health promotion, then that makes it relevant to the question you're asking, to that case, right? So that's what I do. And for me, usually when I feel like a patient is not forthcoming, they're like, the patients that answer you in monosyllables, they say, you ask them, how can I help? It's my knee. What is wrong with your knee? It's paining me. And they're not like very forthcoming. Go to your psychosocial, go to your eyes. Sometimes that gets them talking, and it's working. It always works for me when I start asking them, how is it impacting you? Is it stopping you from doing anything? And then they just start rattling. Oh, the other day I could not do this. Oh, and my partner thinks it might be this. And then when probably they had it in mind that they were thinking, could it be cancer? At that point, they're bringing it up because they say, oh, my partner thinks it might be something more serious. I'm like, what? They say, oh, like maybe a cancer. But if you ask them straight up, what worries you about this pain, or do you have anything in mind about this pain? They could say no, because they don't want to sound stupid. I mean, nobody wants to sound stupid. So sometimes you have to tease out this information through other means. And that's what works for me. So after psychosocial, I go my doctor bits. Because now with open question, with your eyes, with your psychosocial, that's your patient agenda. Your patient would have told you the reason why they've left their house to come and sit on your chair that day. And then, of course, after that, I go to my focused history, asking about, whatever, if it's pain, you do the usual OD para, like clicking a pain. Everybody could click a pain, hopefully. And of course, Socrates for pain and OD para for any other thing. And then just ask relevant question. You don't have to do everything like, oh, is it radiating here? They just as quick as you can. And then you do your red flags, okay? And red flags is things you'd be worried about, basically. So if you were thinking, is this like someone has a pain and a swelling in the knee, is it osteosarcoma, is it something, like an injury? At that point, you're asking all those questions. That's on that side, right? And then after that, focus question and red flags. At that point, if you think family history is relevant, I ask at that point. If it's not relevant, I just move on. Maybe ask at that point, asking them have they tried anything, any medication, just wrap it up, because that's you and your doctor bit. And next thing I go into straight up is verbalizing my diagnosis. If in the situation where it's like an examination like essay, or I ask to examine the patient, and then after that you wrap it up with management and all. But essentially the history taking, what I do is open question twice. Depending, again, you can explore more if you feel that there are two symptoms the patient has come in with, or two presentation, or just two different things, or you just want to know a bit more, or you want to clarify, you can ask more questions. And then of course you go to your eyes. I go to my eyes, I do my psychosocial, and then I just go straight on to focus question. And at that point, it should be closed question, because you're trying to get all the information you need, and your red flags, and then relevant family history, medication history, anything else, allergy, things that you probably would need to make a diagnosis or to help with your management. And then at that point, you should be going into your examination and your management. So this has worked for me, and in some weeks to come, I'm going to be out of training. And of course, if you do have any questions, I have a Q&A coming. Thankfully, one of the viewers sent in some questions, which I found really, quite expository. The questions made me think a lot, and I think that I'm going to share with every other person. One of these days, I'll do a Q&A based on the email he sent me with the question, and share my answers. And yeah, all the best, and have a good weekend. Bye.